أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I can hear an answer somewhere. Come on, it's got to be louder. I'm sure you've had breakfast this morning. Can I hear you? Okay, let's start with the salawat. A really loud one. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Good. So what's the date today? That's right, the 10th of Sha'ban, 1441. Times of Salah, can you tell me? I'll give you a moment to look them up. Calendar, phones, whatever. So Fajr, you should have prayed at 4:38. Okay, maybe a bit later, but 4:38 was the time. Zohar, you're going to pray at 1:11 or 1:10, I think. And Maghrib is 7:50. Are we good with that? Okay, so that's basically, in essence, the day. Now, what are we going to talk about today? First of all, it's still the month of Sha'ban. And therefore, if you remember the 4 things we talked about, lots of salawat on the Prophet. We talked about, can you tell me? What did we talk about? We talked about 4 things. Okay, fasting, maybe if you can. Sadaqah, do you remember we did that? Right? And what was the 4th thing? Istighfar. You're going to try to say, Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. I'm going to add one more to that. Today, from today onwards, because we're going to prepare for the 15th of Sha'ban, one of the most awesome nights of the year. Next to Laylatul Qadr, you have 15th of Sha'ban. So what we're going to try and do from now till the 15th of Sha'ban, I'm going to do a lot of things, but this in particular, is to be able to recite Tasbihat Arba. You know what that is? Subhanallahi, walhamdulillahi, wa la ilaha illallahu, wallahu akbar. Let's go for it again. Can you recite it with me? Subhanallahi, walhamdulillahi, wa la ilaha illallahu, wallahu akbar. It is so awesome what's coming up. It's just something else. Okay. So this is the 15th of Sha'ban, which will be on Thursday. So we're talking about Wednesday night and Thursday. Remember, in Islam, the night comes before the day. So we start on the night. So now 2 things we're going to focus on. First of all, the night, and then we focus on the day. So I'm going to start off with the night. And then I'm going to quote a hadith from the Prophet. And he said, I was sleeping, or I was resting, he says, on the night of the 15th of Sha'ban, when Jibreel came up and said, Muhammad, why are you resting tonight? And he said, oh, Jibreel, why? Why are you telling me that? He said, this is the night of the 15th of Sha'ban. And he said, I got up, and Jibreel took me to Jannatul Baqi. Do you know what Jannatul Baqi is? That is the cemetery at Baqi. That's phenomenal. We'll talk about that some other time. And Jibreel told him, Muhammad, lift your head up. Look at the sky. Tonight is the night when the doors of heaven are open. And then he said, there's the doors of mercy. There's the doors of Allah's pleasure. There's the doors of forgiveness. There's the doors of getting lots of stuff, grace as you call it. The doors of tawbah, the doors of blessing, the doors of softness, and the door of goodness. My goodness. I remember as a child on the 15th of Sha'ban, we used to get most of our presents on the 15th and then Eid. And we'll come to it in a minute. Why? Because of the importance of the day. But on that night, my grandmother used to take us up to our terrace, and we used to look up at the heavens, and we used to look up at the sky, and my goodness, it was phenomenal. The sky was great. So on this night, he will free an equal number of people from the fire as the number of hair on the total number of cows and sheep. Now this is in essence very metaphorical. It's like a really metaphorical thing. And here what we're trying to say is that any sins that you have, absolutely anything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will free you from those sins. So remember, Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. And I'm going to explain that in a minute, or right now maybe. So let's look at what istighfar means. Very often when I say astaghfirullah, we think I'm asking to say, Ya Allah, cover up my sins. See, when you have a cut in your arm, you put a plaster on, you cover it up. Now that plaster does not heal the cut. There is something going on inside your body that heals it. This just covers it for you. If you didn't look after it and you'd covered it, it'd get even worse. So ghifar is a helmet, right? something that you wear. Istighfar is you're asking Allah for protection. You're saying, protect me against everything that will stop me from being my best. So as much as possible, now talking about istighfar, something else. So I'd like you to go to your Qurans, and this is absolutely phenomenal. Go to Surah number 8. Have you got your Qurans with you? No? Well, try and look it up on your phones. Surah number 8, Surah Al-Anfal, Ayah 33. I need you to remember this for all time, not only for Sha'ban, but more so for the 15th of Sha'ban. So let's see what that surah says, what that ayah says. It says, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهَ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَأَنْتَ فِيهِمْ. So you see, the people of Makkah, they didn't like the Prophet very much because he was telling them, you're all equal. The only person who is the best is the one who is most God conscious, the one who is the righteous person, the good person. And they didn't like that because they thought if we came from a better family, we were better. If we were richer, we were better. So if you look at Quran, it says, Ya ayyuhan nas, O human beings, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha. We have created you from one man and one woman. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. And we've made you into these different communities so that you recognize each other. That means diversity is good, so there's recognition. But he says, Inna akramakum indallahi atkakum. The most honored with Allah is the one who understands Allah, who knows I've got to reach my full potential, who knows who's always being watched. And they didn't like that. So in the ayah before, in ayah 32, they tell the Prophet, well, if this is the truth, then send punishment on us. You know what? Ask Allah to rain stones from the skies. And here he says, we will never punish them because you, Muhammad, are amongst them. But now this is what I need you to understand or listen and ingrain it in your soul. He says, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ مُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَهُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. Allah will never punish you, never punish a people who do istighfar. I mean, it's not rocket science. Just after every salah, after any time you get some time, astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Think about all the things that are stopping you from being your best. So that's sort of a little bit about the 15th of Sha'ban. You got to stay awake in the night. The Prophet is told, encourage your people to keep awake so they can get close to Allah. And it's a night on which all du'as are accepted. All sins are forgiven. Your tawbah is accepted. Now let me tell you what the 5th and the 6th Imam said. He said, Allah has promised to fulfill every hajat. Do you know what hajat is? It's something that you ask for, something that you want. And sometimes people tell me, well, I can't ask Allah for these little things. I can go right to the top. Oh yes, definitely the top. But you got to ask Allah for everything. You got to write it down. He tells Musa, ask me for the salt in your dough. Musa, ask me for the shoelace in your shoes. That's what he says. So they both say, the 5th and the 6th Imam, stay awake at night. So I was looking at the time. The time for Maghrib is 7:57, about 8 o'clock. And the time for Fajr is 4:30, right? So do the math. 8 to 4:30, how many hours? Okay, you're right, about 8.5 hours. Structure those hours really, really well. Look what they say. They say this is a night in which not a single person does dua except their duas are accepted. We live in difficult times. Pray for everybody around you. He says nobody asks for a single thing. Then he says no one asks Allah for forgiveness that his sins are wiped out. My goodness, we can start with a clean slate. No one turns to Allah in tawbah that Allah accepts their tawbah. I mean, it's really not rocket science. So in my 8.5 hours, I'm going to do istighfar. I'm going to make a list of all the things that are stopping me from reaching my full potential. And I'm going to try my best to keep away from them. What else am I going to do? I'm going to recite Dua al-Kamil. Now, why do I suggest Dua al-Kamil? Not the whole one. Do a little bit. Just a tiny little bit. So, let's see what Kamil was. First, Kamil ibn Ziyad is a companion of Imam Ali. Now, he says, I was sitting with my master Ali in Masjid al-Kufa with a group of companions on the 15th night, on the night of the 15th of Sha'ban. And one of them said, Ya Ali, can you explain this verse to us? And this is ayah 4 of surah number 44. Not difficult to remember. 444. You can remember that, right? Now that ayah says, Fiha yufraku kulla amrin hakim. In it, every single command or every single affair is made clear. So they were asking Imam. And Imam said, the meaning of this is the night of the 15th of Sha'ban. And this is what Imam says, I'm reading it. I swear by the one who holds the life of Ali in his hands that there is not a single person except that all the good and bad that will reach him in the year is divided up and handed on the 15th of Sha'ban. So this is a prelude for Laylatul Qadr. And then he says, and that will continue from the 15th of Sha'ban until the next year on the same night. And the one who stays up this night and recites the dua of Qadr will have all his duas answered. So Kumail ibn Ziyad said, Ya Ali, which is the dua of Qadr? And he said, I will teach it to you. Remember, sometimes there's only one person who comes and asks you. And Imam said, I'm going to teach it to you and I'm going to entrust it to you. And he marketed it so well that we don't know it as Dua al-Khizr, we know it as Dua al-Kumail. You know, Khizr is a prophet who's still alive. That's another story altogether. So a little bit from Dua al-Kumail, and I suggest you read the bit about istighfar. Now, here we have 5 things we're asking istighfar for, and then there's like a blanket. So if you can't do the 5, at least do 1. So we say, Allahumma gfir li adh-dhunub allati tahtikul ism. Forgive me those sins that tear apart the bits about me that wants to do good. Allahumma gfir li adh-dhunub allati tunzilu niqam. Oh Allah, forgive me those sins that bring me adversities, that bring me bad things. Then we say, Allahumma gfir li adh-dhunub allati tughayyiru ni'am. Forgive me those sins that change good into something that's not very good. Allahumma gfir li adh-dhunub allati tahbisu du'a. Oh Allah, forgive those sins that stop my du'as. You know, it's talking to Allah that really, really matters. And then this blanket, Allahumma gfir li adh-dhunub allati, Allahumma gfir li kulla dhanbin adnabtuhu. Forgive me all my sins. وَكُلَّ خَطِيَةٍ أَخْطَأْتُهَا, and all my mistakes. It's really important to understand du'as because it's our conversation with Allah. The other thing that is recited on this day, in this 8.5 hours, find some time to recite Surah Yasin. Now many people recite it 3 times, and it's okay. You can recite it once. 1 time Surah Yasin, and the intention you have that, Ya Allah, give me a long life. Ya Allah, make me prosperous. That means make me reach my full potential in every aspect of my life. And finally, keep me safe from misfortunes. And you know what? The time we live in now, with what's happening in the world, we need safety so much. So use this time. Because you're going to be home, you've got no school, you're home, sleep during the day, keep awake during the night. You know what Sayyidah Fatima used to do? On nights like this, she used to give her children a very light dinner as such, so they could keep awake. If you eat a lot, you want to go to sleep, right? So have a light dinner, keep awake, and then do sahri, because it is awesome to fast on the 15th of Sha'ban as much as you can. Try. So what happened on the 15th of Sha'ban? My goodness, I love this story. It's just something you need to repeat to yourself again and again and again. As a child, my grandma used to tell it to me, my dad used to tell it to me, and I love it. So close your eyes and imagine. Imagine 1,186 years ago. Yep, that's how old your mom is. So 1,186 years ago, it was a Friday. It was the 15th of Sha'ban. This was in Samarra. Samarra is in Iraq. It's like a suburb of Baghdad. So if you can imagine, there's Sayyidah Hakima. Now Sayyidah Hakima is the sister of the 10th Imam. She says that my nephew, that is the 11th Imam, invited me for iftar on the 14th of Sha'ban. So that tells us they were fasting. 13, 14, 15, good to fast. Anyway, so, and he says, please stay. Don't go home because my son's going to be born. And she must have felt really, really good. She's asked to stay. So she stays the night. And she says, I stayed with Sayyidah Narjis. And she said, I could hear Suratul Qadr being recited. She said, all night I could hear the recitation of Suratul Qadr. And she said, near Fajr, I could hear the recitation coming from the tummy of Sayyidah Narjis. That's Suratul Qadr. Do you want to recite it with me? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr. Wama adraka ma Laylatul Qadr. Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alf shahr. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام Ya hatta matla'il fajr. And she said, then at Fajr time, this baby was born. And she said it was phenomenal. She said, I took the baby and I went and gave it to its dad, that is to the 11th Imam. And he said, the baby started reciting a verse of Quran. Now remember, in the Quran we have how Prophet Isa recited from the cradle. Well, Imam Zamana, Imam Al Mahdi recited. He said he recited the ayats, ayah 5 through Tul Qasas, where Allah says, we intend to bestow our favors upon those who are considered weak in the land, and we will make them the imams and the heirs of the land. Recite it. And just imagine what happened then. It is just amazing. There's so much about him that we need to read. Okay, so because my time is coming to an end, the other thing we do on the 15th of Sha'ban is learn to write to Imam. The reason why we learn that is hopefully if we learned it on the 15th, we'd write all the time. It's really sad because we get these little strips of paper and I see people just scribbling on them with their fingers. And I'm thinking, hello, you're writing to Imam, the most important person in your life. What are you doing? Why are you scribbling? Why can't you write a proper letter? Do you know what's written in the Arida? Do you know what an Arida is? Now, the mosques are closed at the moment, so you might not have all these little orange bits of paper being given to you. So we're going to see what's written on that paper and what you will write. You will write a proper letter, proper handwriting, really neat, really tidy, address it to Imam. So I'm going to just explain a little bit about what is the Arida, what it says on it, and then why we put it in water. And maybe if you can't go out because you're at home and you need to be at home and stay safe, you could probably put it in your garden, like bury it. So let's see what the Arida is. First of all, an Arida is a petition. You know what a petition is? It's something that you write, a formal written request where you are appealing to somebody in power because there is something you need. And in my mind, the first thing on those Arizas has to be about COVID-19. Let's all pray together to find a vaccine to make sure that we're all safe. So here's what you write on that Arida. You know that little scribbly Arabic writing that's written on this bit of paper, and we don't even think about what's written. So it basically says, and I'm going to give you a sort of general overview. It says, I write to you, O my master. Now to me, you got to start with Assalamu alayka ya Imam first, okay? Then it says, I write to you, O my master, and I need your help. I complain to you about what's happening to me, and I seek refuge with Allah. And then you say, these things that are happening have darkened my days. They occupy my heart. They occupy my thoughts. There is no better time than now because all we're thinking about is COVID-19 or the coronavirus. They're robbing me of my inner peace. You know, when you see all the suffering that's going, my goodness, this is all we got to write about today, on the 15th. We're saying, keep me safe from imagining the coming of problems. Free me from what you see as me going towards others rather than you, and my failing to protect myself against myself, and my lack of patience and the strength which tears me apart. Then you tell Imam, I trust the wisdom of Allah, and I know His plans are the best. Allah knows your status, who is Rabbul Alameen. He's the guardian of everything. I'm confident that you will intercede for me, that you'll be my intercessor. You'll be the middle person. And then you say, praise be to Allah in everything that happens to me. I am certain that Allah will answer me, and to Allah alone do I present my pleas, do I present my problems. That's why we say, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. And we say, you, Ya Mawla, you are Imam, you are my middle person, you're my intercessor. And you say, I know Allah is the only one who can actualize my needs, who can make things happen, who can affect my thoughts. And I confirm my hope in you that you will intercede for me. And then in that little space you have, after that, you write what you want. And write everything. Write a long letter. Write your micro goals, your macro goals. And maybe one thing I'd like to tell you. When I was little, I always wanted a bicycle. Always wanted one. And my papa used to tell me, pray so that everybody in the world gets a bicycle and you will get one. And I used to think of these billions of people in the world, and I used to think, Papa, by the time they all get a bicycle, I never get one. It's never going to get there. And he used to say, my child, when you pray for others, you will always get what you want. So first pray for others. In here, write for everybody else. Once you've written, there's a little bit there underneath. Now see what that says. That says, this which I have written is what I have no strength and patience to bear. Maybe I deserve it because of things that I've done wrong. Or maybe I haven't been doing my wajibat. Maybe I've not been praying. Maybe I've not been fasting. By the way, you're at home now. Make a record of all the things. Maybe you haven't prayed, write them down, and then keep on praying a little bit more. And you say, so I plead to you, help me, O my master, and present these hajat, these requests of mine to Allah. And I need success. I need the completion of these actions, and I need safety. And then you say, indeed, He's the greatest and He's the best guardians. Now, why do we take this ariza? And then why do we write it? And why do we put it in water? So first of all, the concept of writing is you're actually verbalizing, you're writing down what you want. And sometimes you see some of the things that are not so quite right. When you write them down, they actually, you focus onto them. Then you hand them over. You hand them over to Allah. The ayah of Surah At-Tawbah, ayah 129. وَأُفَوِّضُ أَمْرِي إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَصِيرٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. You've handed it over, and you've handed it over to someone who is phenomenal. That is Allah. But with the wasila of the Imam, it's just something else. Okay. And then when you put it in water, it's like saying, I'm done. I trust you. I've given it up to you. Now I know whatever's gonna happen is okay. Water is also a purifying agent, so it works that way. Now, when posting, there's a little thing you read. You say, Assalamu alayka ya Hussein ibn Raw. You actually address the third representative of Imam, whose name was Hussein ibn Raw, and he was, out of all of them, he was someone that was very approachable. They were all approachable, but he was even more. He used to smile a lot more. Read about him. We've got some books on the QFatima website. We've got that one, which is Imam Mahdi, and then you've got the month of Sha'ban as well. So read about him. But it's also an indication to you and me that there is life in Barzakh. If you have strived in the way of Allah, then you don't die like that. You physically die, but you're alive. Surah Al Imran, ayah 169. لا تحسبن الذين قتلوا في سبيل الله أمواتا. Do not even think of those who have given their lives in the way of Allah as dead. بل أحياء عند ربهم. They are alive with their Rabb, and He provides them with sustenance. So there's a lot of things to take in, a lot of things to remember about these days. Many, many, many felicitations. And I hope from now till then, you will start writing your letter, because you can't just write it at one time. You got to think about it, and you got to write it really well. If you can't go somewhere to post it, don't go out. Then you can bury it in your garden. That's okay as well. Okay, that's normally about it this time that I ask you, what's in the news? Yeah, we all know that. I know what you're going to say. COVID-19, the coronavirus. We've been talking about it last week as well. We have to pray for everyone, absolutely everyone. Now, we've got some du'as that are really, really amazing, and we put them together in a card. You can download them from the website, or you can ask us and we can send it to you. But I'd like to focus on a couple of du'as that I think are phenomenal. So one of them is, Allahumma inni la as'aluka raddal qada. I don't ask you to reverse anything, because something that's happened has happened. You can't reverse it. I can't say I want to be a toddler again, or I want to be a child again. You can't do that. So you're saying, this is what you have willed, Ya Allah. I'm not asking you to reverse it. But, وَلَكِنْ أَسْأَلُكَ لُطْفًا فِيهِ. I ask you to show me the subtle kindness, the subtle goodness in it. Look for the goodness. Look for it, and that goodness is getting closer to Allah, getting closer to divinity, and getting closer to your full potential. And help as much as you can, wherever you can. Listen to the medical advice. I keep on stressing that. Don't not listen to it, because you may be okay, but you may be hurting somebody else, and that's really not on. Okay. And the second dua is something that we read at all assemblies right from the start. So I'd like you to read it with me, which is Li Khamsatan, and inshallah we will end with the ziyarah of Imam Hussein. So are you ready? Fine. Recite it with me. لي خمسة أطفي بها حر الوباء الحاتمة المصطفى والمرتضى وأبناهما والفاطمة. Can we recite it one more time? Come on. لي خمسة أطفي بها حر الوباء الحاتمة المصطفى والمرتضى وأبناهما والفاطمة. Let's end with the ziyarah of Imam Hussein. And don't forget, every time you drink water, you're going to say, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Every single time. Now you'll add a little bit more. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. That's normally the time that I tell you to go to your classes, to your Quran classes. So I'm expecting you just now to go and pick up your Qurans and recite at least 5 ayat. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. Inshallah, I will see you next Saturday.